Hang in there, it is!
Smylie Kaufman for 61. Wow.
I'm Smylie Kaufman, and this is The Smylie Show. Welcome back to The Smylie Show. We are excited to bring you a big preview episode for Season 2 of the TGL today. We are joined once again by friend of the show, Augie Pizá. We looked over some of the wild hole designs before Season 1, and he has somehow managed to outdo himself this upcoming season. We're also joined with my good friend, Roberto Castro, with a big announcement to make. So without further ado, let's get right to those conversations. All right, happy to welcome in a very good friend of mine, Roberto Castro. I would say one half Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket, one half LSU Tiger. And today, Roberto, you're joining us to break a little bit of news. Come on, Roberto, give it to us. What do we got?
Well, you called me. You wanted to talk about TGL Season 2. I go way back with TGL, and I'll be in a little different spot this year on the field as an analyst on the broadcast. So I figured if you can do television, anyone can do it, Smylie. That's pretty much how I thought about it. So,
well, congratulations.
Thanks.
That is truly, it's going to be so great to see on TV. The TGL, the whole experience really, from hearing about this from, of course, Franco, your little brother, who is my college roommate, hearing about the trips that y'all would take down to the SoFi Center years ago, back when this was in its infancy stages.
Yep.
I mean, talk to me about from the first time that y'all got involved with CapTech to where it is now, just the whole process, if you can, and just let us know about maybe some of the things you've learned over the years of this whole process.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I can remember sitting in my office and my boss at CapTech, or a technology consulting firm, saying, hey, dial in. We'd already been doing some work in golf, doing some work in racing. And he said, dial into this call. And they put up this deck about what TGL is going to be. This is like 4 years ago at this point. And I was like, how have I not seen this on social? This is the Tiger's involved, Rory's involved. There's a screen. I was like, this is crazy. We were all texting each other like, is this for real? And that's really where it started. So CapTech was brought on to kind of gather the requirements, kind of what's the path to bringing this deck to life. From some of the technology side, a lot of people were involved. We were just a part of it. And I got super lucky that I could play kind of the player role, right? What's it going to be like for a player? What's the gameplay going to be like? How fast is it going to be? What does team golf indoors look like? And the first test ever, we talked a lot about what it could be. And finally, I said, look, we need to test it as best we can. And we gathered up some washed up college players at one of these simulator bars in Alpharetta, Georgia, just north of Atlanta. We would hit shots into the screen, and then we would run outside to like the little putting course, right? You're supposed to just grab a cocktail and go putt. We were basically simulating what it could be like. And then, as you mentioned, we started taking trips to Orlando, where they set up a sound stage where they shoot movies. They put, a 30, 40 foot screen. They started putting some of the moving greens in. I mean, you're talking like hacked together, right? Everything was test and learn, test and learn, test and learn. And my brother and some of his buddies and like high level mid-am washed up college guys, which I'd include myself there at this point, we became the testing crew. So every couple of weeks or maybe every month, they would improve. They would build something new. There would be new software, new hardware, and we would fly down there and just play matches, 6-8 hours a day in these sound stages. They'd be shooting a movie in the next one over, and we were trying to do this simulator golf league in our sound stage. So it was a wild ride all the way to today, one season in the books and season 2 right around the corner.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about season 1. What were some of the things that you liked? What were some of the things that you didn't like? And taking from what all of the information that you guys helped compile to make this to where it's something that we can consume on TV that's fast and fun, imaginative. Did it hit most of the benchmarks that you were looking for? And if there are some things to improve, what items are on your docket?
I think TGL did a great job. I mean, in that test and learn ethos carried into season 1, right? They made a big change with the hammer rule. They were adjusting and trying to get better every week. So I think that will continue. But my 2 big takeaways from season 1 are the number one asset is the best golfers in the world. You have the best players in the world, and the players liked it. Like that was not, I mean, you could tell, right? They were having fun. Every press conference afterwards, they were like, that was a ton of fun. I mean, I was there for a lot of the first visits where guys would come in and see the facility for the first time, and they were blown away, and they enjoyed the experience of playing in TGL. And then number two, whether it's metrics, you hit your numbers by 10% or 5% or outperform by, to me, it was just audience adoption, right? The vast majority of people were like, I'm in. That's good. I like that, right? I'll watch that on a weeknight in the middle of winter. It's additive to my to being a golf fan. And like, sure, it needs to improve. And I don't think it's perfect. It's literally a startup. It's a version 1 product. But the overall audience reception of saying, I'm interested, I'm in, I like where this is going, I think was a huge win.
What about the business side of TGL? I mean, that is something that is just remarkable to me. This being a startup, you don't have brands like this, getting all of these brands associated with a startup like this, and then the stars and celebrities that are involved with all these teams and potential for new teams to be added and what those dollar figures are. I mean, is that something that has surprised you, or maybe just Tomorrow Sports and having Tiger Woods and Rory involved and seeing how this thing is kind of developed is to where we're at this point of like, wow, this is an incredible product with some real money behind it.
Well, you've seen it in person, so like it's mind blowing, right? The engineering, the technology, the infrastructure, and the money it takes, like you're saying, to pull that together. I'd say that was one of the big selling points before season 1 was the people, not so much the money. It's like, look at the people involved. Okay, Tiger, Rory, and then look at the people who believed in it, right? The team owners are Arthur Blank, Steve Cohen, Fenway Sports Group. When you look at like the title sponsor, SoFi, Anthony Noto, like if you want to feel bad about yourself, pull up his Wikipedia, right? These are people who are very, very good at winning. They are very accomplished. They're also good at seeing things before other people see them. Like that's really how you can have outlier success in business, is seeing, well, maybe instead of just local hardware stores, we should have like a hardware store supercenter and make it 100,000 square feet. That seemed like a good idea to Arthur Blank and Bernie Marcus before you and I thought about it.
Yeah.
And that's why, he owns an NFL team and we're doing this podcast. So those type of people were on board with TGL and still are. And it's, that's a really strong indicator.
All right. So what about the formats? In season 1, I think everybody really got behind the triples and we had some great moments in that too. Yeah. I mean, Tiger accidentally hitting 100 yards instead of like 200 yards when he was supposed to. Like there was some great back and forth. This past year. And so when you guys were scripting out kind of how the gameplay was going to take shape, was triples you guys' idea, or was that something that was already in the deck? How did y'all come up with the way TGL was going to be played by these guys?
The team aspect was undefined. So with the first test at that bar, we played alternate shot. We'd play some best ball. We'd play like 3 holes of singles. We didn't know, but one big thing we figured out early is you don't want a guy sitting on the bench for too long, right? So it was like, okay, Smylie, you and I, we kind of knew it would be 3-person teams. Well, Smylie, you and I will play, Keith and Franco, whatever. And then we realized the third guy's been sitting there for 40 minutes. And that was, so how do we get everyone involved? And I will give credit where credit's due. We threw out a bunch of ideas. And I think the first person who said 3-person alternate shot was Ross Berlin, who you know very very Ross was the best
happy birthday text every year.
The best happy birthday texter in America. Longtime player relations, led the player relations department on tour. And Ross was part of the early TGL team that recruited the players because he'd known them for years and years. He knew all the agents. He'd been working with them forever. But he was at these tests, and I think Ross threw out the idea of triples, and that really took off. And when you look at season 1, I mean, that's where a lot of the juice was, right? I think some of the singles stuff I think is going to be better this year because we're going to get to singles a little bit quicker, and I think you're going to get some better but the triples really, really worked really well.
Okay, so what format changes are on deck for season 2?
No big format changes. Yet? So 9 holes of triples. I think halftime intermission, depending ESPN, what Scott Van Pelt's involved, it probably just be a little bit more fast paced. So you get right into the singles, and then 6 holes of singles. So it's still 15 holes. Shot clock remains at 40 seconds. The hammer rule, each team gets 3 hammers. So that's, every hole is worth 1 point. If you throw the hammer, it's worth 2. The other team can accept and play, or they can fold like poker. And that is really, that's the storyline that came along the farthest in season 1 is the teams and players learned how to use it. So it became really, really strategic. The fans kind of got into it in person. They were just screaming about throwing the hammer. And I think now that all the teams kind of have the hang of it, it's going to make for really good storylines in season 2.
Patrick Cantlay, of course, was the guy who figured it out sooner than anybody, and it actually happened to be the difference of probably why Atlanta Drive, ended up being the champions of the league. But throughout the first half of the year, the hammer was really lacking because, when the first team had it and they got a lead, then it was just stale kind of the rest of the time because you never had the craziness of what a hammer could provide in the double of value. So I love that the league was willing to be okay being wrong, be like, okay, we didn't have this right. Let's go and make this change and make sure that we have people watching throughout so that we feel like, okay, this team's down 4-0 and we feel like this other team has a chance to come back, because that's sports. You like to watch comebacks in close games.
Totally. All credit to TGL and the competition committee and Mike McCarley and everyone for making the change. And I mean, we played, I'd say 50 to 100 test matches, Smylie, and we worked on the hammer rule, and the one where it alternated and one team kept it, we didn't see what happened. Like we tested it and felt really good about it. And then that's once you launch and go live, it just didn't quite work the way it did in testing, and being willing to change was a great call.
You've played with many of these guys on the PGA Tour, Cheech, especially on Tuesdays or Mondays, playing practice rounds, having gambling and having bets. And I tell you what, a lot of these guys like to do. They like to have an opportunity to win their money back. They like to press when they're on 15. Give me a chance to double up the bet. And so that is what these guys like to do. And I tell you what, is widely accepted in most golf gambling games is that you always give them a chance. You don't ever say, no, you can't do that. So I think that is a home run because, if some guy doesn't accept it, you're like, come on, man, you're not going to accept it. And that's kind of the banter you kind of need back and forth between these pros.
Totally. And if you throw the hammer on the tee box, they have to accept it. So as long as you're holding, you start with 3. If you're holding 1 or 2 hammers, and you're down 2-3 points late in the game, you're still in it, right? You can throw the hammer on the tee and win a couple holes, and you're right back in. I mean, Atlanta in the final match where they won the championship, they were down the whole match, and I think they won 13. They won a hammer on 14 with that long putt Billy hit down the ridge. Right. So it really makes it a lot of fun coming down the stretch.
You know who was pretty good about holding onto their hammers or their timeouts? Brian Kelly. He was going to make it into this interview. I mean, how good is the Tiger Stadium while we're here? I mean, I have to
give you the credit you deserve here. So Smylie and I, my parents and aunt and uncle and all went to LSU, and Smylie was my brother's roommate at LSU. So we both have, purple and gold blood, and we made a pilgrimage for my brother's bachelor party to Baton Rouge. This guy is the mayor of Baton Rouge. Okay. I mean, we were greeted like kings at tailgates, at restaurants, at bars. We went to Fred's before they opened. They wouldn't take our money. They were like, no friend of Smylie pays for anything here. We went to
I should have wore the Fred's t-shirt on the show.
I know.
And just absolutely rubbed it in as you somebody stole your t-shirt. What a shame that was.
I know. I mean, we had tables held for us at we went to a restaurant after the game, and people were like, they're saying the wait's 3.5 hours. And we rolled in and we had a table for 10 set out there, like the mob boss table. And they're like, that's Smylie's crew right there. The guy's the mayor.
That was a good margarita. Thank you. Shout out to Superior Grill.
Shout out Superior Grill. That was a good night.
Yeah. A good week down in Baton Rouge. Quickly, can you just tell the story about when you came down from the Corn Ferry, I guess the web.com tour event with Luke List, and played a 9-hole little afternoon delight at U Club with Franco and I? Just the one story that came about from that day that you use for pretty much your entire professional career.
So I am 6-7 years older than you and Franco, and I had gotten on the Corn Ferry Tour. At that time, it was nationwide tour, and there's always that tournament in Lafayette. So he's a freshman in college, I guess. Y'all are freshmen in college, and Luke List and I are traveling together. And I guess we're coming from one tournament to the other. I was like, hey, we have Monday afternoon to kill. Let's go play with Frankie and Smylie at LSU's U Club. So we go out there and Luke and I have taken our bumps and bruises at this point, 4 years of college, a couple years of mini tours. And you two idiots don't know anything about anything, like any 18-year-old freshman. Okay. Forget life, but just golf, just complete, just no clue.
Morons.
So Luke and I go out and we play with you and Franco. We play 9 holes at the U Club, and every hole, Smylie is driving it. It's a long golf course. He's driving it to 175, and he's hitting these back foot trap hook, sand wedges from 175. Every hole he's between clubs, and he throws the longer club down on the ground, and he goes, I'm just going to turn one down in there. And I'm like, Luke hits it long, and you're hitting one. Luke hits it really long. You're hitting one less club into the par threes, just
trying to hammer it.
One speed. It was tremendous.
Just hammering it.
For the next
you're Rusty, right?
Yeah, I had the same caddy from that. My 9 years on tour, a year or two on the corner. Rusty and I were there the whole way, and that was early days. And for the rest of my career, if I was in between clubs, I would just grab the short. If I grabbed the short one, which for me was not that often, I would say, "Man, I'm just going to Smylie this 8-iron every time." Every time I had to hit something hard and just turn it down a little bit, it was just he'd be like, "I don't know, what do you like here, Cheech? Just a little." Kind of chippy 7, or you just want to Smylie the 8-iron? So that needs to catch on across the game. I really think
100%. Do you understand it now that you haven't played as much golf, that you understand that it's important to have to turn something over when you're trying to smash it or back foot it? Do you bring that into your amateur game now?
No, I do the opposite. I just hit 6-iron from 165. Yeah.
Day. You don't want to pull anything.
Been in the office all morning. Absolutely. You think I'm hitting harder shots now? You'd be wrong.
Oh man. All right. So back to TGL. So the experience that I had in person, one of the things that I felt like was lacking was not knowing what these guys were saying out there. Of course on TV, you can hear what everybody's saying, but the in-person experience I felt was lacking outside of, big moments that happen or what you saw happen on the screen. You could kind of make out what they were laughing about or maybe what they were talking about. I have read that there's going to be improvements in that people that come into the SoFi Center will have an option to be able to, I guess it's headphones that are given out that give you an opportunity to listen to the broadcast. I also read Sirius XM was somehow involved, or I don't know if that was listed in that as well, but talk a little bit about that, because I think that's important for anybody going to the TGL matches this coming year.
Yeah. In season 1, they really prioritized the broadcast, right? That's what 750,000, 1 million people are seeing over the in-person experience, just, getting that version 1 product out the door. In-person got better for sure during season 1, but major upgrades for season 2. So there's now actually somebody producing the entire in-house experience.
Wow.
So that's sound, that's video, that's the whole deal, right? When you go to a Hawks game or a Falcons game, people are producing the in-house, just like the television. That's coming to TGL season 2. And then you nailed it. You can get wireless headphones. I think Farmers Insurance is sponsoring them and providing them to everyone in the arena. And you have 4 channels, I believe. It's the broadcast. It's each team's players mic'd up, and I think the 4th is Sirius XM feed. So,
were they involved in season 1? Sirius XM?
I think so. Yeah, I think there was a radio show.
You could be driving down the road at 8 p.m. and you could just listen into.
Yeah, I think Brian Katrick and those guys did it, and McGinnis.
Oh, really? So they just had 2 guys sitting there just calling it how they saw it, and they had the audio that they were getting from the broadcast to be able to kind of play with it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and we were testing it in rehearsals, and I think that we were talking about this last night, actually. It really depends what you're there to do, right? If you're a golf junkie and you're going to SoFi Center to watch a match and see the best players in the world, I think you get 2 seats together, you put on the wireless headphones, and you put on the broadcast or the player mics, and it's like being in the greatest theater of all time, right? Like you're listening and the play is happening. I mean, the worst seat in the house, you can be 10 yards from Xander.
Yes, you're not getting a bad seat.
Right. There's only 18 rows of seats. Like imagine the worst seated anywhere. So I think that's one experience, right? If you're taking clients or you're taking a group of buddies and you want to chat, there's a lot of in-venue noise, right? Like the music, the video. So
you can make your own fun.
That's right. I'm not sure you'd want to have the headphones on because you'd be more like, hey, I want to have a beer with my friend. I want to take in what's going on. I want to take in the golf, the in-arena experience, all that. So I think it's kind of choose your own adventure.
Okay, that's cool. All right, let's talk about you as an on-air analyst. And this is what we led with. Roberto Castro joining the media world. So first off, talk about, how this came about, how excited you are, and what exactly you think your role will be for season 2.
Good question. I mean, I'm super fortunate to have a full-time gig at CapTech. We have a really strong sports practice, data and technology. We're working in golf. We're working in racing. We are really specialized in competitive scoring systems, pushing the boundaries with some new AI tools across those sports, starting to work a little bit in professional football, which is awesome. And then, but being involved the whole time here, I think season 1 was awesome. Matt Berry's the best, but it's like just that little bit of golfer angle or a little bit of that strategy angle, could be additive. And just having spent so much time in there and seeing the game up close and personal, I think it made it a great fit. So I'm super excited. But we did some rehearsals this week, and I mean, honestly, Smylie, I have been on a million golf courses, and I know that when you do what you do, like it's really hard at first, right? Like it's a totally different deal. Like we've talked about it, right? You don't talk for 30 minutes and then it's like, Smylie, give me 2 lines and be impactful. But you've spent a lot of time on a golf course, right?
Yeah.
This environment at TGL is just completely different. It's like sensory over. There's lights, there's music, there's screens. There's like, I wasn't sure at first. Should I watch the big screen? Should I watch the monitor? Should I watch? You know where
your eyes need to go.
Exactly. And I think once I got settled there, I felt a lot better. But I think that's kind of the unique thing. I was able to get settled pretty quickly because I know I've spent hundreds of hours in that environment. Whereas I think even the most talented broadcasters, and there's tons of them, way more talented than I am, I think it'd be a little bit of a longer learning curve because it's like being dropped on the moon, right? It's a crazy place.
And you understand the gaming aspect of it, the hammer strategy. And then, of course, I think the interesting design components, if you're going to listen to the next part of this episode, we had Augie Pizá on to talk about some of the changes he's made to some of the holes in season 1, but also some of the added ones, the Stinger hole. We got Cenote that everybody's raving about. And just like your angle in which you can speak golf nerd, which is being able to speak that language that only pros can speak, but also know what they're thinking, their strategy, and being able to convey that to the audience so that when they're hitting these shots, you are able to add a little bit of context before it happens versus like trying to figure out, what happened after. It's explaining it before so that you know what to look for.
Yeah. And look, I'll add where I can. The unique thing here is that Matt Berry's a superstar, and then you have the players mic'd up, right? So highlighting them and what they're talking about is really the star of the show. But like you said, certain teams, certain matches, it is an opportunity to kind of add some color to the shots. I mean, I was in there this week hitting the Stinger shot, and
how low do you have to hit
it? Average apex for tour players, 100, 110 feet, 120. You need to hit it about 40, 35 to 40 to hit it under that bridge. It's super low. The first 2, and maybe we'll put up or add a video of me hitting this shot. I finally stung a 3-wood, low missile, and it clipped the bridge and went in the hazard. It's very low. And they'll figure it out. Best players in the world, but it is not a gimme, and it takes some real adjusting. It's going to be really fun for the guys.
And I gave Augie some credit when you listen to this later. I think the imagination of making these players have to think, get creative, and not just make it range golf. Make these guys see into a different world. And I think that's the kind of the new imagination for Skill Hands coming on with all the work he's done on the outside and trying to bring that into a simulator as well. I'm excited to see the holes that Gil has designed. But as we move out in this interview, Roberto, I'm sad because it's been a great conversation. But what I have to ask, and I know there's plenty of fans out there, I'm a Jupe Links guy, but is Boston Common Golf going to win a match this year? That's
so
my
they added
first
Thor
question.
Bjornsson to the team, so they got
as a sub because
sub.
Hideki and I guess Adam Scott might be hit or miss early, is what I've been told.
Yeah, I think that betting against Boston Common in season 2, like you think Rory's going to lose forever. It's kind of like betting against some of the folks we talked about earlier. I think they're going to be very competitive. They had some bad breaks. So one that comes to mind is Rory won Pebble Beach and then flew back for a match the next day. And as one should do when you win on, maybe the most iconic golf course in the world or one of the 3 or 4 most, probably had a glass of red wine or a cold beer on that flight back,
Well, sure he did. Why wouldn't you?
So I think you're going to see a more on-form Boston team in season 2. Let's just say that.
Okay, what about season 2 prediction? I don't think many had Atlanta Drive getting the job done. I think you would have looked at Boston potentially being the favorite. LA was probably one of the best teams all year. They were so ridiculously good with Tommy, Justin Rose, Sahith Theegala, of course, played well. Who do you have your eye on this year that could potentially lift the trophy?
I think LA. They were the number 1 seed last year. I would keep my eye on LA. Fleetwood's up to 3rd in the world. And like the precision you need to play TGL, like making putts, the shots around the green, Justin Rose is such a star for that, right? But I mean, Atlanta, again, Billy Horschel, like the guy lives,
dude.
He lives
a gamer, man.
He's a gamer. And then Cantlay. So I was doing a little research on, prepping for this first match. Cantlay is ridiculous. The guy has 43 top 5 finishes on the PGA Tour.
Stupid.
And like 190 something starts. Top 5 finishes, 43. So I don't know how you'd bet against, the defending champs as well. So going to be really competitive. Ludwig, that's the crazy thing. I go back to where I started. The number 1 asset, the best players in the world, right? And they're into it. So it'll be fun.
That's really good stuff. I guess I should have probably led with on the Atlanta stuff that nobody expected him. That's probably not true. I just was so blinded by Jupe Links and wanting them to do well. And I told Kiz this as well. I think down in the Bahamas. It's like, Kiz, dude, watching Jupe Links and being a fan of Jupe Links, it felt like I was watching the Bad News Bears. It was just one thing after the next. And he said this year, you got kids like doing broadcasts, not playing a whole lot. And he said their angle this year is to try to talk smack and be like, dude, if you lose to us, you're losing a guy on TV. It's, that use that angle, add some added pressure to them to where they feel like, gosh, I can't lose to the amateur. Not to say that Tiger Woods or Maxwell and Tom Kim are that, but just using that Kiz angle to maybe bring that out. And hopefully Jupe Links making the playoffs. It'd be great.
Kiz is a total gamer, but like you said, some of these guys are just at this point just cold-blooded killers, and Kiz is doing a lot of television, so it's a tough. You can only shit talk your way into so many points.
That is true.
But I think Tiger, I'm not sure, how much he'll play with his health. Hopefully he'll play, but I know he's going to be involved. And I think you saw how much fun he had, right? Like, I don't think anyone's seen him laugh as hard as when Kiz sculled the bunker shot. And I think just his presence and like being around the team and it's a major lift. It's great to see him having fun and being involved.
Have they signed anybody for like a 4th yet, or is that just on the DL right now?
I think there's some guys lined up. You have to break that in your next episode, but I know some of the good young players. That's the thing about golf, especially today's professional golf and PGA Tour golf. There's no shortage of super talented young guys to feed into the TGL world.
All right, as we sign off here, Cheech. So the one thing you said to me leaving Tiger Stadium, or even in the stadium, you said, I'll never not come here every single year to watch a football game. So have you looked at the schedule yet to see which game you're going to?
I've looked at it. I am standing by that. I'm going to a game a season until they put me 6 feet under for sure. I'm looking second half of the season. I mean, I live in Atlanta. I don't need to go to Baton Rouge on a 99-degree September day. So second half of the season, I think there's Oklahoma is coming to town, and
you got Texas and Bama back-to-back weeks. Those are the big ones.
Yeah.
Got some good action.
It's gonna be so the right out of the bachelor party Baton Rouge trip was all the Lane Kiffin stuff. So usually the text chain like slows down. Everyone kind of takes a beat to recover after the trip. Not this trip. It was
Lane
on
train
fire.
came to town. Came to town, man. And it's going to be even better. Can you imagine that place actually with an offense? Oh, that was tough to watch.
What do you want to talk about? Just television broadcasting royalty. I've been watching PTI for, at this point, like 25 years.
Sure.
And I turned it on the day after the Lane stuff. And Kornheiser said that the boos are going to wake the ghost of William Faulkner. That's what he said about the game at Ole Miss. And I was like, probably like 4% of the audience even understands or knows who that is. But it's been a minute since I read any William Faulkner, but just him pulling that out on an ESPN.
Legendary.
He's
Guy's
the best.
Legendary.
Yeah, the best.
Well, can I get a little Go Tigers on the way out? A little Coach O Go Tigers?
Oh man, you need to do that. I can't. I don't want to overstep. I don't want to overstep. That's right.
All right, Roberto. Congratulations. Look forward to season 2, and make sure you call Franco if you need any television tips because he is our guy there. He's the one. He's our only guy who's ever going to give the right critique. So
he's great with the critiques. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yes. Opinionated.
Thanks for having me on, Smylie. Let's do it again.
See you, buddy. Thanks. Huge thanks to Roberto for taking the time to join us. And we are looking forward to seeing him on the TGL broadcast this season. And next up, a friend of the show, a reoccurring guest, and a guy who puts smiles on faces around here at the Smylie Show. Let's get into our chat with Augie Pizá.
We are thrilled to be joined once again on the Smylie Show by Augie Pizá of Pizá Golf. He's sitting currently in a design studio in Puerto Vallarta, which means he's a lot warmer than us, I believe. I'm looking outside at some cold driving rain here in Durham, probably similar in Birmingham. Augie, we had so much fun with you previewing the set of hole designs you put together for the first season of TGL around this time last year, but we had not seen an official shot hit on that screen at that point in time. And so I think the place to start for this conversation is, after that first season, the feedback you got, people really loved and took to your holes. How do you just big picture take stock of the work you did for that first season, the way that fans and players responded to it?
Well, first of all, thank you for putting a big smile on my face because always speaking to you guys is amazing. Thank you for having me. And I was looking forward to this one for a while now. So, yeah. Muchas gracias. It's a very interesting question because back then when we were talking about all this, it was all full of uncertainty. And not only for me, for everybody involved. Everybody. It was just complete uncertainty. And that's the beauty. I think we all took that leap of faith, TMRW or TGL calling us as one of the 3 designers, going out on a limb to a certain extent. It's kind of, hey, who's this guy? What is he doing? What has he done? What has he been doing? And I saw 2 or 3 of our regular designs and they're like, oh, well, let's see what he has. So, and that was all like, I'm very, very grateful of all of that. And that we talked about that. And I want to touch on it again because that feeling of uncertainty, it's very rare to feel it in your lifetime, especially in your career. You usually know what you're up against. You usually know, what the crowd is, what's going on, what the membership is, who the members are, who the client is, where's the spot, et cetera, when you design. In this case, it was like full on uncertainty and it was beautiful to live it. We won't get to live it again. Now we have expectations. And now we know what we're getting into. So there's 2 different worlds there. And I love that part of the uncertainty.
Augie, how often did you get into the SoFi Center to watch TGL live this year? And did you get an opportunity at all to talk to any players or really just hear from any of the players through TGL on just any basic feedback on what they like or didn't like? Just curious to hear if any players had reached out or if you had talked to any players.
Yeah, how many times did I go to SoFi Center this year? I think it was at the end, it was like 4 or 5 times. It was great. And I did not get direct feedback from players, but yes, indirect feedback from players. And I was very happy. One of them, the first one that filled my heart was, Rory talking about the spear back then and how it he reacted to it positive. So getting all this feedback was beautiful. Like I said, the uncertainty was the toughest part to bear, knowing every, week in, week out, what are they going to say? What are they going to do? How is the ball going to bounce? How is everything going to react? Because there's the reality and there's what we think that's going to happen. And then there is what happens. And it's an interaction between creativity and technology. So it's something very, very interesting in real life. To a certain extent, we can manipulate how the ball is going to bounce and it's going to roll. Over here, it's all digital. So our shapers are, great creators with mouse. They're moving the mouse. They're not on the dozer. They're coders, et cetera, et cetera. So it's been a great interaction. And yes, we had some feedback on statistics. Also, most importantly is what and how were the top players in the tour hitting to where, what, depending on the situation, and how, and what was the shot value or the shot that they chose, and all of those stats that now we're filled with stats, and some love them more than others, but it was great feedback, and that brought us to tweak 2 or 3 holes from season 1 that are going to be featured in season 2.
If you looked at all of the holes used for season 1 of TGL, one of these things was definitely not like the other. The Pizá golf holes were completely unique to the others, and I think many of us, including Smylie and I, delighted in the uniqueness of your designs. Were there moments of, I don't know if anxiety is the right word, or just wondering how people were going to receive something that, when many of the other designs looked like something you could find on planet Earth in a golf sense, yours were very unique to that. Did you harbor any sort of, I wonder how this is going to land before they actually made their debut on television?
Every day. and with regular clients as well. If you see the pit on my regular architecture in real life, I was like, hey, I have this idea. And in order to have, and we're very lucky because in order to have a crazy idea or a different idea, you need a crazy client. And that's where we're very lucky in finding, or in the clients finding us, that, hey, whenever, to a certain extent, when we are hired, there is an expectation of maybe a little accent here and there, something different. So we love that part. And yes, anxiety, everything. Not that I couldn't sleep. Not in a bad way. In a good way. Those butterflies in the stomach when you were a little kid or whatever. That was a beautiful feeling every day, every match, and even before. It was like, wow. Okay, yes. How are people going to handle the spear? The flex and the volcano and all of that. And so yes, it was beautiful to live, to be honest.
The visuals are just stunning of so many of these holes that you've designed. And so when I look at some of the holes that you've made tweaks in for next year, of course, we're going to talk about Cenote and Stinger, 2 of the most popular designs for season 2. But quickly, as we look at Flex and we look at pick your plunder, and then also Spear. So you said that y'all are using statistics and data a little bit to help maybe make some tweaks. If you could just kind of talk about maybe pick your plunder and flex first, because those two holes seem pretty similar to me in that you're given three separate options. You have a left, a middle, and a right. Based on what you saw in season one for just flex and pick your plunder, was it a little bit too easy? Was it a little bit too less complicated, I guess, for these players? Did you want to make it just a little bit more visually challenging? I'm just curious about the changes made on those two specific holes, and then we'll get to Spear.
It's a little bit of everything. I mean, all credit to Full Swing and their team for the graphics at the end. You know, that's I had the idea, but then taking it to the visuals was a pretty cool thing by them. Like they did on Cenote now, it looks pretty cool. So that's that for that part. The technology has grown from one year to the next, as you'll see in the visuals. And yes, we went back, and you know, it's when we design in our design philosophy, in our regular design philosophy, we maximize to minimize. So we really go out there, and then we start, you know, kind of like sculpting a little bit, you know, softening here or there. But we all, like, our first sketches are always like really out there. And then we start moving this. And that's the Spear. So on Pick Your Plunder, what we created is, depending on the tee box, we wanted to create an area. You have the Guardian bunker there, which looks pretty cool on the visuals as well. At least I think it does. From the tee box, you have that bunker right there. That's a Guardian. That Guardian is tilted up. So it's a blind shot onto that middle section right there. That's about 295 yards to clear. That is an adjustment we made because nobody was taking that line. That was the most heroic line to get home in two with a very easy shot.
And nobody was trying it.
And nobody tried it or
That's shocking for very aggressive and players that are really good at golf too. You know, is that a little shocking to you?
Yeah, it was a little bit. Yes, to be honest, because that was the position A plus. And we had position A, let's say, a little bit on the right, and position B on the left, with that great, which is something we like to also create some humor in our golf design. So we created that negative speed slot right there on the left.
Yeah.
So if you were playing that fade shot or the fade fairway on the left, but you were drawing it in, that negative speed slot could bring you all the way back 20, 30, 40 yards, and then you have another blind shot in. So that's something that we also tweaked. We made it a little bit more vicious because people like that negative speed slot. I don't know. I think we like that, you know. Golf is one of the oldest ways to practice masochism. So why not throw in there a few things here and there? So the Guardian. So what we did, we opened up a few yards that center line, and let's see how the top players in the world react now. And hopefully they'll start taking that exciting line to position A plus.
That's great. And then Spear, Charlie, I think this was the most interesting one. When you look at the design last year, basically it was just two triangles. And this year you can see that the second landing zone has been split up and split in half, really, to really make you decide if you are hitting driver off that tee. Of course, it appears to be about a 300-yard carry to the middle. And most of these long players can carry it up to about 320. So you got to be picking a little bit one side or the other, which can really bring in the water if you happen to get a little bit left or right, depending on which side you choose. Is that kind of the whole idea there?
Yes, and now it's going to now it's going to play a little bit further. Last year it played a little bit up.
Yeah, I think all right. Yeah, that sounds.
It was playing
right.
a little bit up. Yes. So those are the other things, decisions on that in team decisions. That, you know, how much do we want to challenge? I think for season 2, it's going to be pretty cool because there's going to be more challenge. This one is going to be the pinch is going to be further. And then you also, so now when a player decides to lay up, now we need to decide either on the left or right for the layup for the second shot or for the tee box, depending on the green. We have a new green, as you've noticed, which is bigger. It's now more than 5,000 feet, which is now a regular, kind of like a good regular size green. 2 bunkers. So now we have that pin positions where we can have a well-guarded pin position or an open pin position, depending on the strategy of the hole. So this is something, and we're still playing with geometrical forms. We still wanted to keep that identity of Spear, which is the simplicity of a heroic hole. As an architect, what you're looking for is always the less is more. Yes, the simplicity of things. And when we were playing around with geometrical forms, which is architecture is playing with geometrical forms, we pinched those 2 triangles and we had the minimalist expression of risk and reward.
And, Augie, those are obviously some of your most notable designs from that first season, but we are looking forward to, if you thought Augie was cooking in season 1, you just wait till season 2 begins.
Let this man cook. Let him cook.
Let the man cook. We're going to start with one that we know a little bit about the inspiration here. It's Tiger Woods' signature shot shape. Here's the thing I love that you noted earlier, Augie, is that you can take the player feedback and adjust the holes in a way that in real life it would cost millions of dollars, right? And TGL world, just take this back to the coder or the graphic design team and say, hey, move this giant rock structure around. And we're going to show you the flat overhead view here to look at Augie's design notes for Stinger, but then we're going to roll in some video and you can just see. I mean, I just want to know where you came up with this, Augie.
Yeah,
like the feverish dream that contributed to this shot shape off the tee where you have to just drive it low or hit this high hook around it. It's brilliant and it's delightful. So walk us through Stinger here.
Thank you. When I first got the call from TGL, obviously being Rory McIlroy, Mike McCarthy, and Tiger Woods behind all this, the number one of the initial thoughts was, how in my world, how can I give back to somebody like Tiger Woods that has given to the golf world a lot, knowing or not knowing? He's done it for years, across the board. So how can I give back, or we as Pizá Golf give back? And we started to analyze some beautiful heroic shots that he's had over the years. See what can we do? Well, around the green, it's going to be tough because it's a set green. He would have to really land on that part of the green to do something magical there. And then it was down the list. It was the Stinger. I'm like, yes, why not? Let's play with the Stinger. Let's ask the players for the Stinger. Let that be a shot. It was the first hole that was not completely open to whatever you want to do. It's just one that's asking you for that shot. And with that, I had to create, we had to create the landform. So where could we, one of the things that even though we like to get fantasias, one of the things that we like to do or want to do is also kind of like take it down to earth and where would this be situated if it ever existed? So in places like Idaho or Utah where you have these landforms, could be, or at least we can break into it and kind of like do it, no? So that's how it started, and it's an ode to Tiger Woods to, in a way, help immortalize, which he has done. He has done golf. His go-to signature, or one of them signature shots, and pay respects to Tiger. And that's what we did there, or that's what we're trying to do. To ask the rest of the gang to go out there and try it. and play the Stinger and pay some respect to Tiger Woods.
Let's say, Augie, you don't have the Stinger, you don't have the shot, so it looks like you're given potentially an option to hit a little short iron out there to the right. But I see that big structure that's that horseshoe rock that also would potentially be a factor if as a either be blind or actually in the way if you played it out to the right. So then you have that rock structure that comes into play on second shots too. So I think the hole is fabulous. Make these guys hit more than just stock shots. I think too often last year when I watched that guys were just pounding drivers and just hitting like simple wedge shots. I think the more that you have to play creative shots and actually hit different trajectories, you'll see these players really start to have some more fun with just the craziness of what I think this league should be all about, which is imagining the unimaginable. And that's what you created here.
I love that. Yes. Thank you very much. And yes, you have that alternative. Let's say, okay, I'm not going to do it, or, I don't have that in my bag. Then you can opt for a high trajectory, work the ball from right to left. Mm-hmm. But of course, the front part of that landing area is moving away from your shot. So that's going to be exciting to see that pattern on how it evolves and what the choice of shot somebody's going to have. So I think it's going to be exciting. I hope so. Again, there's this uncertainty.
No, not this one. I'm going to tell you right now, there is no uncertainty here. You put your head on the pillow at night, and you know that Stinger is a perfect golf hole for TGL.
Thank you very much, guys. I will sleep at night now.
Well, and then that brings us to the next one, the most recent drop of yours.
I got questions on this one, Charlie. I got questions on this one.
Okay, well, can I start here, Smylie? Here's what I wanted to do is I wanted to give a little bit of background here to the audience. I went and got the actual definition of cenote to set this up. So a cenote, which is a word of Mayan origin, is a natural pit or sinkhole formed from collapsed limestone that exposes crystal clear fresh groundwater, common in Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, but found globally. They were sacred to the Maya for water and rituals, and today are popular for swimming, diving, and exploring unique formations like stalactites. Like, this is... Augie, I think we sat here last year and I was comparing some of your designs to things I saw on like early 2000s Tiger Woods game. This cenote to me looks like something that I'm ready to play like a PlayStation 5 game in a foreign world where I have to rappel around and search for treasure. This is so mind-blowing to me. So again, the concept of this hole and this floating green and then this imaginative backstop. I mean, there are backstops and there's a cenote backstop. How did this come into your brain, Augie?
Oof. Take a deep breath here. This is a counter hole. Number one is, why can't we play backwards? So it's so that's how it ignited. It's like, how can we create a hole that's actually played backwards? And then the other thing is that there was when you start noticing and you start seeing, season one, there are very good golfers with their long irons, very good with as we know, and very good with their drivers, etc. But we felt that there was no like real hole that was the finesse shot for a long iron shot. So even though on the rocks there is, but we very rarely played from the outside at the distance of 240 or more, or 220, 240. So when usually if you see my designs, we like to kind of like create alternate shots. So because we're playing, team play, alternate shot, match play. So if one has this shot, the other one could have this other shot. And that's what we're doing here in Cenote with a little bit of spice to it. So what we did is just grab the turntable, which is only 40 yards wide, And you're going to be hitting from around 250, 255 from the tee box. So now the green is also sitting down about 17 yards. So when you're on the tee box, you don't see the green. You're just going to see that big cape behind it. So now you can hit the, if you can hit a 245 dart from the tee box, just go ahead and attack the green. If you can't do it, if you don't have it in your bag, then you can use your 3-wood or your driver. Hit the back, and then it will create an effect where you can, by calculating it well, that's the whole point. Your shot can end up on the back right, back left, front right, or front left, depending on how you use the cape. And that's going to be the exciting part, I think. I don't know. I think we're going to have some nice discussions there. And going back to the cenote is, now we use it as a tourist attraction, but at the end, some of them are graveyards. They're sacrifices. People don't know that they're swimming, and they're downstairs. There's like, oh my God, there's people there from 1,000 years ago.
it takes me back to, like, as a child watching Hercules at the very end of that movie with the underground deal. And then I also think while y'all play this, whole death metal needs to be played as well. I think that kind of fits the theme of what we're going with here. But I guess my biggest question is, have you seen this whole played yet? Has there been any data or statistics that you can help us kind of understand? Because I'm trying to figure it out by looking at it. I can see that the hole says 259, and if you want to hit a 5-wood onto the green, great. But so if you hit a driver, you hit a 3-wood, is there a chance for the ball to ever stay on the cape, or is it always going to roll back onto the green? Is there a chance that the ball could roll back into the water off of the cape? I guess that's my next question.
It is calculated. Now, anything can happen in the digital world, but for now, it is calculated where if the pin's in the front pin, then you want to hit around 310 to get momentum off the back and have your ball trickle so that when it falls on the green, it rolls all the way down to the front. If the pin is in the back, then you probably want to hit 285 so that the ball doesn't grab that much momentum and stops in the back part of the green.
Okay, so there's not a gap in between the cape and the green. I can't tell from just looking at even this image here there is a gap. Oh, so there's a gap. So if you happen to barely just get it to the cape, there's a chance that it could roll back into down into the abyss.
It shouldn't. Because it has kind of like a rock formation, Mayan rock formation. Okay. So you'll hit the rock, and maybe at the end it'll probably ricochet out the green anyway. So you do have to commit to your shot. It's not like I'll say you do have to go like 270 to like 285 or 310 or the 250 or the 260 depending on where it is.
Where's the drop zone if your ball ends up in the cenote? Is it do we have that defined yet?
I didn't design a drop zone. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's that tee box in the front.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
So it's an elongated tee box, and then you just move to the front, and you just hit off the cenote. But it's a place of sacrifice, and maybe we'll have a few sacrifices there as well now.
That's if we want to get really creative with this, we need players who hit their ball into the cenote. I was going to say water hazard, but really the cenote hazard. We need them to be dropped down like a dunk tank into some hidden abyss underneath the SoFi Center. Have them play their next shot back up. That would really bring this whole thing to life, I think.
And death metal.
I'm really looking forward to this one. I've been, I've had it in my notes for quite some time. And it's great to have the opportunity to be called back for season 2 and actually do it.
Well, Augie, you're so great to take the time with us today to run through all these things. And just on the way out, I know that it feels like we're kind of set for season 2, unless there are others that you want to reveal for us. But I just want to know, when we're sitting here this time again and we're previewing season 3, what are the rough sketches in Augie Pizá's notebook right now that are going to top even Stinger and Cenote for season 3?
I'm telling you, with all the hype that we've seen, I think it's all downhill from here, man.
I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe that for a second.
Man.
Get out of the kitchen. And I don't know. Oh, and by the way, there's a video, going back to your question, Smylie, there's a cool video of Billy Horschel playing Cenote.
Check Billy. It out. All right, I'll check it out. I definitely will.
Check it out. Yeah,
I'm excited for season 2, man.
I've heard that some players are out there geeking out and having fun and kind of like, oh, what if I do this? What if I do that? Because if you use the left side of the cape, because of its concaveness, you use the left side of the cape, the ball is going to go to the right of the green. Mm-hmm. So as golf, it's a game of opposites. So if you want your ball to land on the left side of the green, you got to use the right side of the cape.
Yes, that makes sense. And Augie, that's exactly what this TGL should all be about. Make these players have fun, because when they're geeking out with just the imagination of the hole, that's what brings it out on television. That's what gets the viewers engaged. So job well done. We're excited for season 2, and we're super excited, of course, for all these people here to get a sneak peek into what these incredible designs are from Pizá Golf. So well done, buddy.
Thank you. Really appreciate you guys. And thanks for not following up on that season 3 question.
Yes. Well, I will tell you, we saw Smylie last year make an ace on the rocks. And I feel like the next target is, can Smylie make a 1 on Cenote? We're going to have to see if he can make it happen.
Let's go.
We'll celebrate the death metal. Thanks so much, together. Augie. Yes. We hope to see you soon.
Hey, thank you very much for the time and for bringing a big smile. Let's take a picture. Smile, guys.
Oh, here we go. Hey.
I love it.
All right. Hey, thanks for having me. And hope to catch up soon in a TGL match.
Thanks, buddy.
Absolutely.
I listen to this podcast. It's really cool. And
all of our lovely fans and subscribers, but make sure you like and subscribe.
It's cool to see what you guys are doing. I know golf fans appreciate it, but we do too. So please keep it up.
For all the good people of YouTube, like and subscribe.
You guys have some good takes, so I'm happy to come on and shoot the